In the quiet corners of my heart, I feel the thread that binds me to you, woven with moments I never knew I needed until they rested softly in my palms. I carry them like secret lanterns, glowing with promises I whisper only to the wind when night falls over the rooftops. I imagine your footsteps finding their way toward me gently, as if you already knew the rhythm etched behind my silence. Love, in its tender patience, reshapes the air I breathe. It lifts the weight of days that would otherwise blur into gray hours. Every morning, the world unfolds like a tapestry waiting for your name to be sewn across it. And every evening, I gather the remnants of longing into small bundles of hope. Even when distance rises like a quiet mountain between us, I feel you near, a steady heartbeat threading warmth through my calm resolve. If destiny is a loom, then you are the golden strand that refuses to break, and I am the hand that refuses to let go. Together, we create a horizon that belongs only to us. There are moments when the sky feels close enough to touch, as if it leans down to listen when I speak your name into the space between dusk and dream. I wonder whether the stars pause, shimmering a little brighter, hoping to carry my words to you across the unseen. In those tender breaths of twilight, I sense the shape of your presence, as though you stand beside me in the quiet corridors of thought where only truth dares to enter. My heart moves toward you with a certainty I cannot explain, gentle, unwavering, and impossibly brave. And when the world grows heavy with expectation, I retreat into the soft refuge of imagining your smile. A beacon guiding me back to myself, your love feels like a promise written long before either of us understood its meaning, a vow whispered by time itself. Each day I discover a new reason to be grateful for your existence, even if only in the dreams that cradle me when night stretches wide. If I could gather all the echoes of my affection, I would place them in your hands so you might feel the depth of what you inspire within me. When I speak of you in the solitude of thought, it is not to summon you like a distant wish, but to honor the way your presence lingers in every fragile rhythm of my day. There is a softness in the way my mind returns to you unconsciously, as though you are the quiet center of every storm I weather. I imagine the warmth of your understanding wrapping around me like a gentle cloak, shielding me from the voices that sometimes rise too sharply in the world beyond these walls. Still, you remain a beacon, steady and unafraid, shaping hope out of shadows. In your imagined gaze, I gather courage. In your imagined voice, I gather peace. I have learned that love is not merely a meeting of hearts, but a recognition of something beautifully inevitable. It is the knowing that even if miles separate our footsteps, you live in every calm breath I take. And so I walk into each dawn with the certainty that the thread between us grows stronger, weaving a story neither distance nor time can unravel, a story written in the quiet certainty of us. Sometimes I trace the shape of longing across the quiet hours, wondering how something invisible can feel so present, so real, so deeply entwined with the rhythm of my soul. You exist in the gentle ache that turns into hope, in the flutter that rises when a thought of you brushes against the edge of my awareness. I do not need grand declarations to feel the truth of what binds us. It lives in the calm certainty that blooms whenever I imagine your voice steady and warm. There is tenderness in knowing that love does not need to shout. It hums softly, like a melody found only by those who truly listen. And I listen to the stillness, to my heartbeat, to the delicate pull that guides me closer to you, even when our paths are not yet aligned. Perhaps destiny works quietly, weaving moments we cannot yet see, preparing the place where our stories meet. Until then, I hold the thread of us gently, reverently, and with a kind of wonder that grows each day. For even in solitude, loving you feels like standing in sunlight after a long winter, certain that warmth has finally chosen to stay. There are days when the world turns swiftly, filled with obligations that tug at me from every direction, yet my thoughts drift to you with unwavering clarity, like a compass pointing north despite the chaos of the storm. You are the gentle reminder that beneath layers of responsibility, a quieter truth breathes, the truth of a heart that longs not for grandeur, but for the sincerity of connection. I imagine your presence as a calm harbor where the noise of the world fades, where the weight of expectation dissolves into something softer. Love, as I have come to understand it through thoughts of you, is not an escape, but a grounding force, an anchor that steadies me when everything else seems uncertain. Even in silence, your imagined hand rests over mine, offering reassurance that feels real enough to strengthen my resolve. And so, I carry you with me through each demanding hour, knowing that the thread between us withstands the strain of distance and time. In every moment of doubt, I return to the quiet certainty of what we share. A certainty shaped not by circumstances, but by the simple and profound truth of how deeply I feel you. I find myself collecting moments of stillness, small fragments of time where I can breathe freely and allow my heart to wander toward you without hesitation. In those precious pauses, the world softens, and I feel our connection stretching gently across the unseen expanse between us. I imagine us walking beneath ancient trees, speaking in whispers only the leaves can hear, sharing thoughts too fragile for the noise of everyday life. There is a serenity in the vision, a sense of being understood without needing to explain every nuance of emotion. You are a quiet comfort, a presence that brings light to the spaces where shadows linger. Sometimes I wonder whether you feel it too, that subtle tug, that invisible bond that refuses to be silenced. And if you do, perhaps you also sense the sincerity that fills my unspoken words. Love, in its purest form, is patient, and so I wait, not with longing alone, but with the acceptance that everything beautiful unfolds in its own time. Until then, I cradle the thread that ties us, knowing that each gentle pull brings our hearts closer to meeting in the reality we both imagine. As night settles across the horizon, I often step to the window and watch the glow of distant lights flicker like tiny promises scattered across the earth. In those quiet moments, I speak to you in thoughts shaped by moonlight, letting my heart drift freely without the boundaries imposed by daylight reason. If you could hear the softness of these midnight confessions, you would know that you are not merely a fleeting dream, but a presence rooted deeply in the landscape of my affection. There is beauty in the vulnerability you awaken within me, a vulnerability I once guarded like a secret kingdom. Yet with you, it feels natural to open the gates, to let the gentle truth of my feelings breathe. Even if we stand on opposite ends of destiny's map, your essence lingers beside me like a second shadow, tender and unwavering. Love is not always loud. Sometimes it arrives as a steady glow that refuses to fade, and in that glow I find the courage to hope. Not recklessly, but with the quiet certainty that what is meant to endure will always find its way.